Hi, everyone. Hannah Mason here, Vitality Coach. I'm so excited to be engaging with all of you, but even more so to be bringing in one of my newly favorite people, Rebekah Saltzman. I had the opportunity to meet her through a mastermind, women's mastermind group that I'm in. I mention it a lot. I'm in this incredible group of women who are all entrepreneurs supporting each other. And Rebekah just keeps shining as someone who just collects so much wisdom and shares it with the rest of us, and is very generous in her insights and her giving us feedback on how we can do better and improve our lives, and particularly how we can organize ourselves and our business. And so I'm really excited to welcome her in. I'm going to be interviewing her and looking forward to seeing your questions. You're welcome to put questions in the chat and I'll be able to bring them in also. So without further ado, Rebekah Saltzman. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Hannah.
It's a pleasure to have you. I said, hi, everyone. I was like, why did I do that? That was your job.
I'll say it again. Hi, everyone. Thanks to be here.
So you are a personal organizer. And First of all, not everybody knows what that is. But second of all, that's not how you started early on in your career. So I was wondering if you could tell us what that is and how you came to, how your journey sort of brought you to that.
I got to be a personal organizer. Okay, so a personal organizer is someone who makes arranges, makes organization from chaos. And actually that's the name of my company, Balagan Bigan. Balagan is the Hebrew word for chaos. And so that's why I use it. I like the alliteration. It's a good name. Anyway, how did I get started? So the thing is my background is in design. I actually have a degree in fashion design. I worked for years as a graphic designer, and I love art and I love design, and it's super, super important to me. I love when I see some product that has been like really well designed. I love beautiful things. But what I realized was that I wasn't making a product that was good for the environment. And what happened was I actually read this book called Zero Waste Home by Bea Johnson. And from that, I realized, okay, I'm not helping anybody. I'm not making a product that is good for the environment. The people who, are making this product are probably not getting paid a great living wage. And this is something that just ends up in the trash when people are done with it. And I just didn't feel like I was making a great contribution to the world. So I thought about it and I'm like, well, how can I make a good contribution to the world? Like, what can I do? And I figured well, I don't know, but it's going to come to me. So I was just, doing my job, going about my business. And I'm like, God's going to bring it to me. It's going to happen. And I saw this ad for this couple who was moving to Israel and they wanted to downsize their whole life, basically. And I'm like, yes, I can do that. And I applied for the job and they hired me. And what I realized was that it was not really like a part-time gig. It was more like full-time. Like I needed to be invested in them and I needed to be with them, and I couldn't divide my time. And I could have other clients, but I couldn't really have another job. So I quit my job and I started becoming a personal organizer full-time. And I was like, yeah, this is what I love. I make a real contribution to the way people live and I improve their lives. And to me, that is amazing, number one, but also it's a ripple effect. If I improve one person's life, they are improving other people's lives. And it just goes down the line, and it makes me feel like I'm making a real contribution to the world.
So I want you to give me an example or a few examples of what happened with this couple. They have all of this stuff. They have a much bigger life. They're moving to a foreign country where, spaces might be smaller and cost of living is a bit different. So what exactly did you do? Can you get a little bit specific about what are things that you did with them that I might be able to apply to my life?
Yeah. So this particular couple, she was an artist and he was a collector. And collectors are always a little bit of a problem because they love it's more than just the object. It's also the hunt of it, looking for the item that makes them the hunt is what makes it interesting. And it's it's both the hunt and that it's a prized possession in their collection. So collectors are a little bit interesting in that respect because they have like a twofold thing. But she was an artist, and like she had all this stuff that she felt she needed to like document herself. Like she had been featured in a lot of the magazines that she had or whatever it was. So what we realized with them was we took a hard look at every single thing that they had, and we went through and looked at it and decided, does this further my goals or is this holding me back? Because what happens with stuff a lot of the times is that we end up working for our stuff rather than our stuff working for us. And what I mean by that is that the Jewish sages teach that when you have more possessions, you have more worry. So if you have a lot of stuff, you end up working for your stuff. You're worried about your stuff. You end up having to take care of it more. You need to do more to maintain it. And there's more things in your life that you have to devote time and decision-making capacity to. And it's not important. Like, there are things that people own and have that just hold them back because all that mess, all that clutter, all that stuff gets in the way of them doing the things they want to do. Like if you have to always constantly clean up your house before the cleaner comes kind of thing, then you know, that is an indicator that you have too much stuff. Now, I'm not saying I don't tidy up a little bit before the cleaner comes. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is my cleaner doesn't spend hours picking up stuff so that he can, you know, wash the floor. He's able to get in and get out chick-chock because the house is tidy. And what that allows me to do is spend less time with my stuff and more time on the people and the things that I love to do.
Okay, so I've gotten a request. I happen to be on vacation in the north of the country with a girlfriend. And she's like, wait, I want to hear the whole thing. And I realized like I didn't even take that into account. Is there reverb if we do it this way? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
And there's no reverb?
No, it's okay.
Okay, great. So we're going to do it this way. So she can
definitely not as crystal clear as if you had the headphones in, but it's good. I think it's okay.
Better if I have the headphone in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, wait. So I'm going to try to fix the sound so that, let me see if I can do it. So that maybe the sound is, for me, is coming in one way. Okay. And nope, I can't do it. Okay, can't do it. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. Yeah. Oh, so Carol says you guys have cleaners. Well, lucky you. Okay. I just want to be clear. I have a cleaner like once a month. And during Corona, I haven't had any cleaners and I've been doing it all myself. And the thing is actually that's a really good point. And I want to speak to it because what I have learned is that I have found that there are jobs that I don't really love, and cleaning is one of them. I love to organize, but I don't love to clean. And there is a difference. And one thing that I have sat down and figured out, like the actual cost, is that to me, it's worth outsourcing certain things, because if I can do other things that other people can't do during that time, it's a better use of my time. So it has to do with time management skills. So like, you have to figure out the cost of what the amount that your time is worth and decide if it's more cost effective for you to do job X or job Y. Because if it's more cost effective for you to be working on your profession than to clean your house, that's something you should outsource. And I think that we often overlook those kind of things and we try to fit everything into our day. And it's just not possible. Something has to give if we want to get things done. And so like when I'm deciding what I can do or what somebody else can do, I decide what will I not be happy with if it's not done the way I want. And with cleaning the house, as long as it's clean, I don't care. But like in my business, I care how things look and I want to have a little more control. So that's sort of like something I can let go of and pass on to somebody else. And I think it's a really important time management skills. Just kidding you. I didn't think that's what you said. Just kidding.
Okay, so
I don't take it personally. I'm just explaining that's a calculated decision that like I make it for time management.
So I would assume that there's a lot of calculated decisions that also come with organization.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, like, let's say I'm looking at my closet, because I have this dynamic in my household where I like to purge things and my husband likes to hold on to things, or kind of we have the purger and the hoarder.
Okay. This is a common dynamic, by the way.
Yeah. So what could be like a core principle or philosophy that we could say, okay, we look at the closet, like how do we know what to keep and what to get rid of?
Okay. So what I always tell people to do up front is to make some sort of guideline. So for example, if there's just too much stuff, figure out what the optimal number of shirts is, or pants, or skirts, or head coverings. What do you feel like you need to get you through the week? And then, or 2 weeks, or whatever your timeline is. And then go through and figure out how much you'll actually use in that timeline. Because if you have too much, probably you're not going to get to wear most of it or ever. And a lot of it's just sitting in your closet, taking up space. And while in theory that's fine, what it does is it hinders your decision-making process, and you end up wearing the same things over and over again, and everything else just ends up sitting in your closet.
Wait, so slow down that whole concept of hindering decision-making. Like take me through that. Why does it hinder decision-making?
Okay, because it hinders decision-making because there are so many choices to make. So probably your clothes are a little bit tightly packed into your closet. It's hard to see everything. It's hard to know what's in there because there's so much. And when you have fewer items, there's less to choose from. So it's easier to make a choice when you have fewer choices to choose from. One thing I remember about my mom all the time was whenever we would go to a restaurant that was like a typical kosher restaurant, which has like 6 different cuisines.
We do pizza, we do falafel, we do sushi. Would you like eating?
Right. And my mom would be like, there's so many choices, I can't choose. And what I realized from that is like, that's a real thing. We have so many choices in front of us that we just can't choose. So we get paralyzed, and we either do nothing, or we do, in terms of our clothes, we do the same thing over and over again. We just rinse and repeat, basically.
So you're saying reducing the number of things that we have in our closet actually will increase the variety of what we actually wear.
Right. When you curate the best pieces, the pieces you love the most, and make like a hardcore number that you're sticking to in terms of what you're keeping and what you're getting rid of, you're going to love all the pieces in your closet and you're going to wear them.
I like that word, curate.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite word.
Because I think about a museum is so
yeah, you got to edit your collection.
And like strategic about choosing, okay, we're going to have these items and not anymore. Exactly. And then there's certain, when I walk into a museum, I feel incredibly calm and at peace. And I feel like I have space to explore each item. And then there's certain types of spaces like, those tourist trap type of stores where you walk in and there's every single surface is covered, and there's like multiple layers of surfaces, and you just walk in there and I just freeze.
Because you don't know what to do first.
Yeah.
And actually, chaos. That is actually a common problem that people have when they go into declutter in the first place, where they see all their stuff and they don't know what to do, so they just do nothing, because it's just easier to close the closet doors and do nothing, right? Because they're so overwhelmed. But that's the thing. If you start by making this list, deciding what is the minimum that you need? That's number one. Number two is divide it up by section. So you don't have to do every single piece in your closet right this minute, but like start in your sock drawer, start in your underwear drawer. That's like the low hanging fruit, right? I don't like those socks. Those underwear are torn. This undershirt has a hole in it. Whatever it is, this bra is ripped. Whatever it is, like those are the low hanging fruits. when you are ready, once you're in the thick of it, you can move on to like hardcore stuff, the shirts, the dresses. And once
I would expect the more expensive an item is, the harder it is to let go of.
For sure, 100%. And that's also an issue. It's like people say to me, "Oh, but I spent so much money on that," and I'm like, "Who cares? You don't use it. What's the difference?"
Well, either sell it, like we're losing so much more.
But that's just like attaching a value to something without it having any meaning, because that's what you paid for it. It's true, but like ultimately you got it home. It's not serving you anymore. And so it really has no value. So you've attached this external price to it as its value, but really it has no value because you're not using it and it's not serving you. So it's just a shift in perspective. I get it. You spend a lot of money on it. It's hard. But like you can recoup, sell it. I am a big believer in the idea of letting go to free up your space for more blessing. So if you have stuff taking up space in your house, it means that other stuff can't come into your life. And it doesn't need to be physical stuff. It can be enlightenment and, spirituality. But those things can't come to you when you have too much other noise around. And it's imperative to move out the stuff that is no longer giving you blessing so you can get new blessing.
So I have a question for you, because, the thing that I'm really passionate about is dealing with people's beliefs. So I'm curious to know, what are the top beliefs that you see people having that get in the way of them actually decluttering their space?
Hannah, you cut out for 1 second. Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, what are the top beliefs that you see people having that get in the way of them decluttering their space?
Okay, so that's a great question. I think probably the number one is people are just like, I can't do this. But I think most of the time people are like, well, we might need this. There's the we might need this camp. There's the I spent a lot of money on this camp. There's a I can't watch it go to waste camp. And then there's the people who just can't focus enough to actually get it done. And those are people usually who suffer from like ADHD or some other disability that just hinders their ability to spend long time focusing. Either I have actually a lot of clients who have fibromyalgia. It's super hard for them to manage to declutter because they just don't have the energy, the stamina that it takes to spend a long time going through everything. And it's hard. It is hard. It's not an easy thing. And people, I think actually that's a block for a lot of people is, why can't I do this myself? There's a lot of shame in not being able to declutter themselves.
So what's the benefit of, let's say, like, I know you have like an online program. So first of all, I want to understand a little bit more about that. Because I keep thinking about signing up for it. And I'm like, I don't exactly know what happens there. So like, if you could tell us about that and how that helps people, like how that helps people overcome the shame, the exhaustion, the I can't, all of that.
Right. So when I work online with clients, so I have basically a mirror product that is like my in-home service product, but it's virtual because of Corona. So basically what we do is we start out the morning going through, or the afternoon, whatever, going through a problem area. And we talk about what's there and what's holding you back and what's moving you forward and what's motivating you. And then what we do is we create targets that you have to hit over the time period that we're working together. And what really works for people here is the accountability. So they know that I'm checking in with them every 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever we've decided on, so that they can hit their goals. And I think that lessens a lot of the shame, because a lot of people are super embarrassed to have a pro come into their house. But it's just like therapy. It's like you go to a therapist and you tell them your problems. It's basically the same thing, except I come to your house. It's a little bit harder to hide your skeletons because I'm opening all the closets. So like, with the therapist, you can like lay there on the couch, and if you wanted to lie, she wouldn't know, right? But like, if you're not telling me the truth, I'm just going to open the closet and everything's going to fall right down on me. So
I got the image in my head of actual skeletons like falling on your face.
So like, it's embarrassing because people are like, well, why can't I just keep my house clean? Why can't I do this? And there's this feeling of like, I'm not good enough. And you are good enough. This is just not your superpower. And that's okay, because not everybody has every superpower. But in these kind of situations, asking for help is necessary, because you're never gonna fully realize your superpowers if you can't get it around in your house, if you can't manage the time better, if you can't make your stuff work for you. And I think that is like a big goal that a lot of people have, is how can I improve my work? How can I improve my relationships? How can I live my best life? And when you have too much stuff, you just can't. And
it creates all this noise.
Yeah, it's chatter. And so like when you're working with a pro, me or somebody else doesn't, or even if you're working with a friend or your spouse, it's still better, because what it does is it forces you to be have tunnel vision. It forces you to look at this problem right here and get it done, because there's another person standing right there with you, holding on to your time and saying, I'm not going to let you move forward until you hit this milestone. And that's really what most people need, is just some accountability. And I think that when you have the accountability, no matter who it comes from, that's the most important thing. For some people, they have to pay for it because they put money on the table and they're putting, what's the expression? Skin in the game. Right?
It just adds pressure.
Right. It means you want to get the most out of your money. But if you make an agreement with a friend, like if they help you with this, you'll buy X for them. That's also money, like it doesn't have to be a pro. It can be whoever you feel comfortable with. But the point is like the other person is the motivating factor. Most people who are struggling just need an external motivator, or they need a guide. That's what they need. A pro is a guide.
Like a Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah. I'm just there to tell you what to do. That's it. I'm bossy, so it works out for me.
So could I literally put all of my shirts in a row and just show you one at a time, and you help me pick which ones to keep? How does that, or I'm supposed to do that, but then I tell you that I did it.
So I see what you discard at the end of the day. If we're working together one-on-one and I'm in your house, then obviously I see it, and you can't really hide it. If we're working online, I can see what's sitting by the front door and what's ready to leave, But I think once it goes into the bag, it's you're done with it. And I showed you how to set up your closet so that it looks visually pleasing. And once you set it up so that it looks good, it's a lot harder to add back in the stuff that doesn't look good anymore, because you're like, no, I love the way it looks, and you feel very proud of yourself.
Okay, so I have one more question. What are and it could be that this isn't universal, but I'm just curious. Are there certain objects that people have a tendency to hold on to that pretty much nobody needs? You know what I mean? That most people... Yes, translate that word for those of us who don't speak Yiddish.
What's the word for tchotchkes?
I know, it's such a good word. Tchotchkes is
bric-a-brac. Bric-a-brac. Is there something universal that everybody has? Usually there's some item of clothing that people have that it's not always the same piece of clothing, but there is usually some clothing item that is sentimental. A lot of times it's kids' clothes,
Hmm.
a child's toy, but most people have letters. I'm curious to actually see what's going to happen in the like under 30 crowd, because I feel like that crowd doesn't have any letters.
Right.
Do they send
Oh my
mail?
gosh. No.
Like, I mean, I met my husband in 1997 or 1998, and we used to write letters to each other, and email had just like started then, and we have like thousands of letters that we wrote to each other. And like we were also sending emails to each other, but I feel like I was like that last on the cusp group of people who wrote letters to each other. And like I just feel like people don't write letters anymore.
Yeah, my husband and I have like almost just a handful of letters that we've never mailed. You know, they're just they're just a handful of like notes that we've kind of, or commitment type of things and things like
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I feel like I'm curious to see how that will evolve. And I wonder if I'll just find like these old cell phones that are like, well, it has all this information on it that I can't read because they're like dead or whatever. And I already start to see that a little bit, like the electronic graveyard. But it's definitely something that I'm curious to see how it will develop. Although I feel like a lot of the I can't say this, the younger generation. I'm not so old, but like I feel like, you know, the under 30 crowd is a lot less focused on stuff.
Yeah, they're much more into minimalism. They don't want to own cars. They're less into owning their properties.
Right. But I also see like on TikTok how I got this item off Amazon, like 10 things you need on Amazon are like the most popular videos. So who knows? Who knows what they'll be like? I don't know.
So, okay, so let's break this down. Tell me about this online organization thing that you do. And I know that you created like some sort of coupon for me to use, and my computer crashed right before we met. So like I couldn't access it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if you have it on you.
Yeah. So the Done and Declutter is what I was talking about. It's a 4-hour session. We start out making goals at the start of the session, and then I hold you accountable and I check in with you every whatever timeline we've decided on, 15, 30, 45 minutes. And I'm giving you clear, defined targets that you need to hit over this time so that you can reach your goal and get a space in your home decluttered. Some people only need one session. Some people need a bunch of sessions. But what I'm doing is I'm giving everybody a coupon. Chana, you have the link. All they have to do at checkout is enter the code.
That's
Chana.
what I'm having a hard time finding. For some reason, that's beyond my comprehension.
I can put it in the. Am I able to put it in the chat? Maybe Natalie can put it in the chat.
You can put it in the chat.
No,
I just can't. I don't know why I can't seem to find it. Did you send it to me in an email, or it wasn't on WhatsApp?
I sent it to Natalie in an email.
You sent it to Natalie. Okay, so Natalie can put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not able to put anything in the chat, actually. I can private chat with you.
Yeah, so private chat it to me.
Okay. And all they have to do is go to this link, and they can, at checkout, put in the code Chana, and they can save $30.
Okay, that's amazing. And I can't find it. Can you?
I put it in the private chat.
How come I don't see private chat? Why can't I see it?
Don't know.
Oh, here, private chat, 2 messages. There we go. Yay!
There is a message here in the regular comments. I'm a very organized person. That's how my mom is. That's how she raised me. My husband is totally the opposite. After almost 30 years together, he's finally letting go little by little. I'll just say this to just wrap up is that my mom recently passed away, and for years I was bugging her to please let me clean out the house with her so that she could give everybody all the stuff now. And then if they didn't want it, they could, she could keep it and we could just give it away later or whatever. And the thing is that We didn't end up doing it, a lot of it. We did some places, but not other. And now my sister went into the house and she's like, I'm just going to leave it for you. And my father's living there. And my father's like, I'm just going to leave it for you. And I'm happy to do it because I want to do it. But like, I can't get there right now because of Corona. And like, and like the longer you leave these things sit, the kind of the worse they get and the burden that you put on other people who you love. So like, I have this one client, she's in her 80s and like she is cleaning out her house and her kids are so happy with her because she'll offer them stuff like, we'll take pictures and send them off to her, to the kids. And like, if they want stuff, they take it. And if not, she feels totally at peace with letting it go because she knows that like she's offered it and the kids don't want it. And now she's living like this more free lifestyle because she only has the things that she wants. And it's easier to keep her house clean because she's an older person. So it's hard, right? Like it's easier to keep the house clean and it's easier for her to manage in these spaces because, for example, in the kitchen, we just finished the kitchen this week. It's easier for her to manage in the kitchen because it's easier for her to put things away. She doesn't have full-time help. It's easier to like just put the dishes back in because she's not worried something's going to fall down on her every time she opens the closet. Like she has just the amount of containers that she needs, just the amount of pots she needs. Everything she has is just what she needs. And she's edited it down and curated it so that it's what she needs. And we go through these stages in life where like, you know, at some points in our life, we need more than at other points in our life. And if you can say like, okay, at this point in my life, I don't need all this stuff and I can move on and I can let things go, you're going to live a better life because you're just living with the things that you need and it makes your life easier.
And it's like a gift to give to other people. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great gift to give to your children because it's hard. It's really hard. It's emotionally hard to clean out your parents' stuff and to take on the burden of feeling their stuff. Like if you're gonna adopt all of their stuff, your parents' stuff, into your home, it's really hard. There's these huge feelings of guilt. Like I had to keep this because it belonged to my parents. And there's just, we don't need those feelings. We don't need to give our kids those feelings. We don't need those feelings for ourselves. There should be no shame in letting these items go. They they were your parents' blessings. They don't have to be your blessings too. If it's something that you want, great, bring it into your life. But like, yeah, so that's my lesson from that.
So thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom with us. And I look forward to always continuing to check in and learn from you. And yes, please, guys, check out Rebekah. She's got some awesome wisdom for you too. And she's got a podcast, which is in the show notes. And you can also go to her website and you'll see more information.
And you're welcome to join my Facebook group.
Oh yeah. Your Facebook group is Organizing in Israel, which apparently you can do even if you don't live in Israel.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, Kana.
Take care.